Uh, Okay.
Okay.
All right. Mute all.
Mute all.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up. All right, great. All right. So we'll get started. Just with a few minutes of centering, you can either sit down on a pillow or a cushion. You can lie down and get comfortable. You can have a blanket handy. And then have your strap handy. And if you want to use a yoga block, but you don't want to invest in them, something that you can do is get like 3 books that are about the same size and get some saran wrap or plastic wrap and wrap them all together, and then use some package tape to kind of make a block, if that's of interest to you. But I saw some really inexpensive on Walmart.com yoga straps, and Amazon has them, but their shipping is not that great. But if you don't want to invest in a block, you could always try getting some books like that are kind of uniform in size, and really secure them together well. And if you don't have a strap, you could try a dog leash. You could try tying together 2 neckties, or like a bathrobe belt. If you have 2 of them, you could tie them together. So we do that usually lying down and stretch out our inner thighs and the back of the legs from a restorative position when we're lying down. So we'll start here just with a moment or 2 of getting centered, and just kind of closing the eyes. And checking in with the breath. So you can be lying down, you can be seated, whatever feels right for you this morning. Just closing the eyes and checking in with the breath. So for our relaxation breathing, 3 things that we can do to relax the nervous system. 1 is breathing in and out through the nose. 2 is breathing into the low belly first and then the chest. So we're really filling the lower and upper lobes of the lungs. Breathing into the belly, then the chest. And then the 3rd thing we can do is have a really big, long exhale. So the count of the exhale will be longer than the inhale. So for that, I mean, for example, like breathing in for 3, and breathing out for 5 or 6. So these 3 things we can do helps to send a signal to the brain to relax the nervous system. Breathing in and out through the nose, breathing into the low belly, then the chest, and then exhaling a little bit longer than the inhale. So maybe take a moment here for some purposeful breathing. Getting out of our busy thinking minds and moving down into the body, down into the breath. And then just feeling the places where the body is connected to the support beneath you. So if you're sitting, feeling those sit bones connect to the earth. If you're lying down, noticing where the back of the body is connected to support, back of the shoulders, the muscles in the back, the low back and the hips, the back of the legs, the feet or the heels touching the ground. Of course, if you ever have any low back discomfort when you're lying on your back, you can keep your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor to help alleviate any pressure. We take time for stillness to just check in and breathe. I read a great article and I wanted to share part of it with you. It says the silences are as important to music as the played notes. In the same way, the passive, restful, and yielding body, it is important to our well-being as active effort, maybe even more so. Exercise is often a relationship based on striving or goals to achieve something, to look a certain way. But to balance this overly active kind of thought process, we can make room for a completely different approach, one of allowing. Instead of always tightening or toning, we train the body to loosen and let go of tension, to stretch and lengthen. Instead of always focused, effortful action towards a goal, we allow the body to melt and simply be what it is. Stretching encourages a fuller, more balanced relationship with the body based on awareness and receptivity in the present moment. When we rest in stillness and check in and notice how our body is feeling, we start a conversation with our body. No longer just commanding it to do something, but we consciously listen and check in. Noticing what signals our body may be sending us. Noticing what our body may be asking for. Softening and stretching fosters more masterful body awareness. Stretching and softening the body trains us to let go, not just physically, but to let go of mental tension and trapped emotions. Physically stretching out and lengthening and softening permits our bodies to process and release emotions that may be stored in chronic tightness in the body or rigidity in the muscles. The stillness and the softness helps us to let go, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So we'll begin our practice with the sound of the bells. Just seeing if you can listen to them all the way till the end. And now we'll start out lying on our back. If you're not already there, have your strap handy and nearby. And you can have your pillow also nearby, or your yoga block if you have one. So let's start just hugging the knees into the chest and rocking side to side. So just noticing how the low back is feeling. And we'll start circling the knees. And just kind of going all the way over to the right hip, all the way over to the left hip as you circle. And then switch it up and circle the opposite direction. So just noticing if there's any tension in the back, or maybe your back feels great today. Noticing any other sensations that might be going on. Maybe the eyes are closed, and you just use your own natural pattern of breathing now. Nothing intentional or no certain way. So let's start out grabbing our strap, and we'll hook both feet into the strap and extend the legs straight up into the air. So we're starting out with a really gentle hamstring stretch here. And I want you to notice if your tailbone is nice and flat on the floor. So if your tailbone is rolling back off the floor, see if you can bring it back down. So your spine is nice and long and flat. So maybe just closing the eyes and taking a few breaths here as you gently draw the legs in closer to the body. Like you could draw the thighs onto the belly. So take a few breaths here, just stretching out the hamstring. And then maybe rocking left to right here. So this rocking motion while we're on our back doing different poses is another way that we can help to relax the nervous system. And this rocking motion mimics when we were rocked as infants and sends a signal to the brain that all is well, and to let go and release the stress response and to switch into the parasympathetic nervous system rest and digest mode. So let's make some circles here, little tiny circles with the feet. Really slow. Imagine you were doing this in the water. Maybe your eyes are still closed while we're doing our floor work, and you're kind of quieting the senses with the eyes closed. And then circle it the other way. Just noticing if that low back is coming off the mat, bringing that tailbone back down nice and flat onto the mat. And then coming to stillness in the center, we'll open our legs to a nice big wide V. And the width is up to you, whatever feels safe and right for you. So it could be a modest V, or you could have those legs stretched really open wide. While we're here, you can feel free to keep a bend in the knee. And I want you to think about pushing your heels away, bringing the toes to the nose. And see how that might change the stretch, and see where you feel this going down the back of the legs. So just letting the body rest here in this stretch. So it's a restorative stretch because we're using the support of the strap. And then if it feels right, you could just rock side to side, and again, gently massaging the tailbone and the lower part of the spine and sending that signal to the brain to turn on the relaxation response. If rocking doesn't feel right, then you can just hold it still and just notice where you feel the stretch. Checking out sensations in the inner thighs. Where you feel this up the back of the legs. Maybe a little stretch in the groin. And then just noticing if the shoulders are kind of scrunched up towards the ears, relax the shoulders away from the ears. Try and relax the shoulder blades down on the mat. Check the jaw for any tension. Take a few breaths here, noticing the breath moving in the belly. And then nice and easy, we'll bring the legs back together, feet come together. We'll start out with our figure four hip stretch. So we're going to take the left foot out of the strap, right foot will stay in there. We'll cross that left foot over, just above the right knee, or between the knee and the hip, I should say. So this is our figure four. You can see you're making that shape with your legs. And then again, noticing if the tailbone is rolling off the floor, see if you can flatten back down. And we're using the strap as leverage, drawing that leg in closer to the body, that right leg. And maybe our left elbow pushes the left knee away. So taking a few breaths here. Again, the eyes can be closed. You can make some circles with the right leg. Just noticing any sensations in the left hip. Circle in the opposite direction. Make sure that you can flex your left foot while you're here. That will help to protect your knee. Maybe it feels good to rock left and right. And of course, if ever you feel any tension, we never want to feel pain. You back out if it becomes too much. And of course, if you don't like to use the strap in figure four, you can have the hands clasped back behind that right thigh. So big stretch here for the outer left hip. Sometimes tension in the low back is caused by tightness in the hips and the hamstrings. So I always spend time in the beginning of class with gentle focus here, lying down. So nice and easy now. We'll release that left leg and stretch it out nice and long on the floor. And now I have the strap in my right hand, my right foot is still in the strap. We'll open that right leg out to the right. Again, flexing that right foot, pushing my right heel away from me and bringing the toes to the nose, flexing the foot. And then my left hand can just be gently resting on that left hip. Take a few breaths here. And then coming back to center with the right leg, I'm switching the strap into my left hand, and now it's crossing the body to the opposite side of the room. I'll stretch my right arm out with the palm face up, and then if it's okay for your neck, turning the head to the right. So now we're stretching the right hip, outer right hip. We're getting a little twist into the low back. And then right leg comes back to center. We're going to switch sides. So I'll put my left foot into the strap first. And then my right foot will come out and come into figure four. So that right foot is going to cross over just above my left knee, or I should say between the left knee and the left hip. And I'm flexing my right foot. Using the strap to draw that left leg in closer to the body. Flexing the right foot here. And then again, your choice, you can just hold it still. You can make some circles here, or you can rock left to right. While you're here scanning the body and just noticing places of tension, check the jaw, check the shoulders, find places where you can soften and relax and let go. Maybe the eyes are still closed and you can take a few breaths while you're here. To deepen it, that right elbow will push the right knee away. And then coming out of our figure four, we'll release the right leg, stretch it out nice and long on the mat, and now left leg opens to the left. You have two hands on the strap if that feels best for you. Or you can have your right arm stretched out nice and long and just hold the strap in the left hand. Flexing that left foot, take a breath or two here. And then coming back to center with the left leg, switching the strap into the right hand, and now crossing that leg to the opposite side of the room. Left arm will stretch out nice and long. And then as long as it's okay for the neck and there's no dizziness or no issues, you can turn the head towards the left hand. Close the eyes and take a few breaths here, stretching into the outer left hip. The more you flex that left foot here, the deeper you'll get down that left leg. And then release. Coming back to center, we'll drop that strap off to the side. And once again, hugging the knees into the chest, rocking side to side. Just notice how everything's feeling here. And then we're going to come into our windshield wiper and work on opening the front of the hips. So feet come flat down onto the floor, knees are bent. And we'll bring our feet all the way to the outer edges of the mat. So we have a nice wide stance between our 2 feet. And we're going to let the legs drop over to the left, knees are bent. And then we're going to let the legs drop over to the right. So windshield wipers side to side. And when your legs drop over to the left the next time, see if you can just gently squeeze that right glute, send that right hip forward. So we're creating an opening in the front of the right hip. And if it's okay, you can stretch the arms out with the palms face up again, head turns to the right. And then switching sides. We'll come through center, dropping both legs over to the right this time, and this time I'm going to send my left hip forward. So we're stretching out that hip flexor on the left side, which gets tight from sitting. And see if you can feel going down the front of that left hip. Lengthening or an opening maybe. And then coming back to center, just windshield wiper side to side, just kind of releasing and neutralizing the back. And then nice and slow, we're going to make our way up to sit. So your choice if you want to do some spinal rocking with the hands back behind the knees, rocking back and forth, or you just roll onto your side and nice and slow, pushing up to sit. So for a little core challenge, we'll come into our boat pose. We'll turn sideways. So to start out in a modified boat, your hands will be back behind the knees, and maybe you just lift one leg at a time. Think about pulling that belly button into the spine. We're working the core. So you're alternating knees, or maybe both legs are up in the air and parallel to the floor. Holding it here. Check the shoulders, relax the shoulders down away from the ears. So maybe this is your boat for today. Or maybe you can release the hands, palms face up. Breathing in and out through the nose, relaxing the shoulders. Or maybe the legs are outstretched. Take a few breaths here. Wherever you are, it's just perfect. And then nice and slow, coming out, we'll bring the bottoms of the feet together. Take a big tall breath in, your hands are kind of right above the ankles. And then exhale, folding forward. So some people may kind of fold all the way down and forward over the legs. Some people will only go just a few inches and feel a stretch in the outer hips. You can think about taking your forearms and your elbows and pushing down on the inner thighs to deepen the stretch a little. You can think about opening your feet towards the ceiling, like you're opening the pages of a book also to deepen it. So choose your level, whatever is right for your body. Take a few breaths here as we stretch the outer hips a little bit more. And just check in with any sensations in the low back. And then nice and slow, we'll make our way up. And we'll come up to all fours now, coming up to hands and knees. We'll start out with a little cat-cow. So my fingers are spread nice and wide. My wrists are directly under my shoulders. So we're making our body into the shape of a table. I'm pulling my belly button up to my spine the whole time to protect my low back. And then I'm going to extend my right leg back first. I'm going to keep that foot on the floor, tuck the toes under, push that right heel away. So again, another stretch down the back of the leg. We're going to work on a little strength and balance here. You can bring that right leg up into the air. Right toes are pointing straight down to the floor. That right foot stays flexed. Belly stays pulled up nice and strong to the spine, but we're not holding our breath. Coming into the balance, extending that left arm. Reaching out front. Take a few breaths here, in and out through the nose. And then to work the core, 3 times we'll tuck under and bring the elbow to knee. Exhaling as you do. Inhaling, lengthening back out. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. One more time. If this is too much, you can stay in the balance, or of course you could always come to child's pose anytime that you need. So that left arm is going to come back down to the floor, and now I'm going to bring my right leg all the way out to the side to about 3 o'clock. So another inner thigh stretch here. Take a breath or two. You can stay here up on the hands, or maybe you can come down to the forearms. You can stack your fists and rest your forehead. You can rest your head on a block or your pillow if you have one. Or maybe the forehead comes all the way down to the floor. So another inner thigh stretch. We're going to make our way back up onto our hands if you're not already there. Inhaling both arms up overhead, and then exhale. Slide that right arm down the leg, leaning to the right. Reaching with that left arm, maybe looking up towards that left hand. I'm still pulling my belly button into the spine to protect my low back. Stretching out of that left hip. And then nice and slow, releasing out, coming back to all fours, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Maybe another round or two of cat-cow here, coming into a little baby back bend, breathing in, and then exhale, curling and arching the back like a howling cat. Take a few breaths here. In and out through the nose. Coming to a flat back, nice neutral spine, pulling that belly up again, and I'll send my left leg back this time, tucking the left toes under, pushing that left heel back. And see where you feel the stretch here. Down the back of the leg, maybe the Achilles. So you can stay here in a gentle stretch. You can lift that left leg up into the air, left toes point down. Extending my right arm out, coming into the balance. So we're working our core while we're here, pulling the core up to the spine, and we're working on strengthening the muscles around the spine and the low back area. So here we go. You can stay here holding in the balance, or 3 times curling under, tuck under, elbow to knee as you exhale. Inhale, lengthen everything out. Exhale, curling under. Inhale, lengthen. One more time. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, stretching out nice and long in that balance. Right arm comes back down to the mat. Left foot will swing over to the side. So your left foot's going to be around 9 o'clock. And then again, finding your pose here. You can stay up on the hands if this is deep enough for you, or coming down to the forearms. Finding a place to rest your head on the mat, on your block, on your hands. Take a breath or two here. And maybe just kind of rocking the head side to side. And just bringing your attention to the center of the forehead, the third eye chakra. Take a few breaths here, in and out through the nose, and find places where you can soften and relax in the body. Check the jaw, check the shoulders. And then nice and slow, coming back up to the hands, pulling the belly button in as I come all the way up. Inhaling both arms up overhead, coming into gate pose. And now that left hand will slide down the left leg, and we're leaning to the left. Reaching with the right fingertips, pulling the belly into the spine. If it's okay for your neck, looking up towards that right hand, stretching up the side of the body. Take a few breaths here. And then inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, both arms come down to the side. We'll roll the shoulders here, rolling them up and down. And then switching it up, circling those shoulders forward. And then nice and easy, we're going to make our way up to stand. I'm going to adjust my computer here. So coming up to stand, and let's find our strap. Coming up nice and slow, just kind of shaking everything out. Rolling the shoulders, take a few breaths. So I'm going to just hang onto my strap around my neck for a minute. We'll do a few rounds of sun breaths. So my feet are hip width apart. So for ladies, that's about 6 inches, men's about 8 inches apart. To breathe in, I'll lift my arms up overhead. And then exhale, forward fold, coming all the way down to the floor or the block. Inhale, flat back. I bring my hands to my shins. Exhale, folding back down, bending the knees, coming all the way up to stand. Breathe in, arms up, bring the hands together, and exhale, lowering the hands down in front of the heart, closing the eyes for 3 breaths here. Relaxing the shoulders and the jaw. And we'll do it again, opening the eyes. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms to a T, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold back down to the floor. Bend the knees, come all the way up to stand. Breathe in, arms up, palms together. Lower the hands in front of the heart. And again, taking 3 breaths here, close the eyes and find places to relax. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then as you're ready, releasing, opening the eyes. So I'm going to find my strap. And you can stay here with the feet hip width apart. You can come a little wider if that feels more comfortable. We're just going to open the chest a little bit. I'm going to bring my strap out in front. And be mindful of your shoulders, any shoulder issues. You want to keep this really gentle. So you can just inhale the strap up overhead. And maybe this is enough of a stretch for you, keeping it right here overhead. If you have no shoulder issues and you want to come a little bit deeper, you can let the arms come back behind the body a little bit. And then maybe if you're able, you can nice and slowly let those arms come down even lower. So I'm pulling my belly button into my spine here. I'm pointing my tailbone towards the floor. And I'm just thinking about lifting and opening the heart. And I'm just going to hold it here. So it's a sustained stretch for the chest. It's a heart opener. And then nice and easy, bringing that strap back up overhead. And we're going to lean over to the left. So I'm going to stretch my left arm out to the side. Right arm is reaching up towards the sky. Pulling my belly in, and again, maybe looking up towards that right hand. If I have no issues with vertigo or any neck problems, you keep it gentle and do what works for your body. Inhale up to center. Exhale and lean to the right. I'm sending that right arm out. And left arm reaches up to the sky. Pull the belly in so we're not pinching the low back. Take a few breaths here. Breathing in and out through the nose. Release back up to center. And then once again, opening the chest. And maybe that strap comes back behind. You can keep the elbows bent. Just take a few breaths here. In and out through the nose. Just gently opening the chest. When we hold a stretch, we get into the fascia. It takes about 30 seconds to stretch a muscle, but much longer to stretch the fascia. It kind of holds our body together. So nice and slow. I'm going to release the strap, drop it over onto the floor. I'm going to roll out my shoulders here. Just shake it out, loosen it up, roll in both directions. Yeah, any arm movements that feel right for you now. So let's come into a wide-legged forward fold. So if you're not already in a wide stance, see if you can spread those feet apart. Inhaling both arms up overhead. And then exhale, coming forward, coming down, and your hands can come onto a block or a pillow or the floor. We'll let that head hang down, shaking the head, yes and no. So the weight of the head is stretching out the cervical spine and the neck. Just kind of hanging here. The belly's pulled up to the spine to protect the low back. And if it feels good, you can kind of sway side to side, bending into the knee, and then switching to the other side, bending into the other knee. Or you can just hold it still in the stretch. And then we'll find a comfortable spot. In the middle, we're going to come into a twist. So we're going to ground the left hand to start, checking to make sure the belly's pulled in nice and strong. And we're going to inhale and twist. That right arm opens. And we turn and we're twisting towards the right wall. Take a breath or two here. Fingers are active on that right hand. And then exhale, release that right arm comes down to the floor, switching sides. Inhale, left arm, twisting and opening. So our left hand is like we're facing in the direction that we're looking, towards the left wall. Take a breath or two here in the twist. And then exhale, left hand comes back down to the center. And you can hold it here, let that neck hang again, or you can walk your hands back a little bit farther behind you, maybe underneath. So just take a breath or two here. If it's in your practice to have headstand, you could always feel free to take that here. And then nice and slow, we're going to bend the knees, walk those hands back to center, and make our way up to stand. So from here, we're going to come into a high lunge. So my feet are already nice and wide apart. So I'm just going to turn. So my right foot is facing front. And then I'm going to turn, I'm going to pivot that back foot. So I'm on the ball of that back foot. My left heel is off the floor. And then bending down into that front right knee. So we're coming into our high lunge. We're getting a stretch into the left hip here. So if you notice your hips are kind of trailing over to the left, like to 11 o'clock on your mat, see if you can turn the torso and straighten those hips out. Inhaling, arms overhead, high lunge. Checking and making sure that knee is directly over that right ankle so the knee isn't past. And if you're up really high, if you want to challenge yourself, and see if you can come down a little bit lower. Back leg is nice and strong here. Take a few breaths in and out through the nose. Maybe noticing the heart rate picking up. Check the shoulders. Relax the shoulders away from the ear. And then from here, we're going to come into warrior three. So I'm going to start to bring my arms to airplane arms out to the side. And I'm going to start to kind of, nice and easy, bring that back foot in a little bit closer. And then I'm going to come to warrior three, pulling my belly into the spine, lifting that back leg off the floor. My left toes are pointing straight down towards the floor. So your choice of arms here. You can have airplane arms in your balance. Your arms can be alongside the body. You can have your hands together in front of your heart in prayer pose. Or most challenging and not recommended if you have issues with the low back, you could stretch the arms out front. So choose your arms. Take a breath or two here. And nice and slow, we'll come back to our high lunge. Back foot comes back onto the floor. We're still bending into that front right knee. Inhale, both arms up. And now, clasping the hands back behind the head, we'll come into a little back bend. So if this feels like it's too much for you, you could keep your hands on the hips. So again, we're opening the chest, lifting the heart. Take a breath or two here. And then nice and slow. We'll step out, however it feels safe for you. Shake out the legs. We'll take a few breaths here. Inhaling both arms up overhead. Exhale the arms down. Again, breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Inhale both arms up. Palms together. Exhale, lower the hands in front of the heart. Close the eyes and take a few breaths here. Noticing any sensations in the body. Feeling the heartbeat. Feeling the energy flowing around the body, the prana. Mindfully scanning again, finding places to soften and relax. The shoulders, the jaw. Any place you can let go of gripping or tension. And then as you're ready, opening your eyes. And we're going to come into a high lunge with the left foot forward this time. I'm going to switch my mat. Big step forward with that left foot. Right foot is back in our high lunge. So that right heel is off the floor in the back. We're bending into that front left knee, pulling the belly into the spine. And again, if you notice your hips are kind of trailing over to the right, see if you can square the hips and turn straight ahead towards your screen. And then inhaling, both arms up. So we're stretching down the front of that right hip flexor here. And then just noticing if that right leg is kind of caving in. See if you can strengthen and turn on all the muscles in that back right leg. Take a breath or two here. If you notice the shoulders are scrunched up towards the ears, soften them down. The arms can be in a V. They don't have to be straight overhead. Take a breath or two, in and out through the nose. Working on strength and balance. And from here, we'll come to warrior three. So I'm going to bring my arms to airplane arms, and nice and slow, I'll start to lean my weight forward over that left leg, and I'm just going to hop a little back with my back right foot until I'm ready to lift off the floor into warrior three. My right toes will point straight down towards the floor. And again, your choice, wherever you need to have your arms. Breathe in and out through the nose. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. Maybe you notice a difference between the right leg and the left. And try and get that right leg parallel to the floor. Nice and slow, coming back to high lunge. Right foot comes back to the floor. Take a big breath in, arms overhead. And once again, coming into a back bend. So you can have your hands on the back of the hips, or maybe you can clasp the hands back behind you. Bending into that front left knee. Again, lifting and opening the heart. Your choice. If this feels like too much, you can have goddess arms. Again, you could have the hands clasped back behind the head. Nice and easy. Coming back up, releasing, and just stepping out. However it feels safe, shaking it out. And we'll take a few breaths here. A few sun breaths. Inhaling the arms up. Nice and slow. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. And let's just hold it here in the forward fold. So we're stretching the hamstrings again. So your hands can be on your blocks, if you have them. Your hands can be on the floor. You can come into a yogi toe hold and use your two peace fingers to grab the big toes. Or you could even come into gorilla pose and step on the palm of the hands. So wherever you are, you can keep a little bend in the knees if it's too intense. You always want to have a softness in the joints and not locking out and rigidity. So find ways to just kind of soften and relax here. Take a few breaths. And then once again, we're going to come into a twist. So I'm bringing my hands back out onto the floor, or they could be on your block. I'm going to ground my left hand. I'm going to bend that left knee a little bit. And then once again, twisting and opening. Right arm opens to the side. Beautiful. Pull that belly button into the spine. And then wherever it feels safe for your neck. If you can, turn to the right. That works. If it doesn't work for your neck, wherever it feels safe. Nice and slow, unwinding that right arm back down towards the floor. We're going to switch. This time we'll bend that right knee in, and we'll straighten that left leg out. Again, keeping a little softness in the left knee, turning, twisting, and opening, twisting to the left. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. Take a few breaths here. In and out through the nose. And nice and slow. Unwinding that left arm back down, bending both knees and coming up into chair pose. So chair pose, like you're sitting on a chair. Check your feet. Your feet can be together, would be most challenging, or you can have your feet again about hip width apart. That takes a little bit of pressure off of the hamstrings. Coming into chair pose, like you're sitting down into a chair. We're building strength. And then nice and easy, coming all the way up to stand. Big breath in. And exhale, both arms down to the side. Breathing in, inhale, both arms up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. This time palms come together. Lower the hands down in front of the heart. Close the eyes. Take a few breaths here. Scanning the body again. For places of tightness and tension. Places where you are able to let go and soften. And imagine you could send the breath there. And then nice and easy. Releasing the arms down. We'll come to a little bit of a wider stance and just do some gentle swinging side to side. Let those arms just really go. Really gentle twisting. The arms can tap the side of the body, tapping in the kidney area. Maybe the eyes are closed here. Maybe you can come a little bit deeper. You can have those heels come off the floor. If you want to make it a little bit more work for the heart, you can bend up and down. Keeping the heartbeat going a little bit. And then nice and slow, bringing it back to center. And we'll come back down to sit. And you can feel free to have your blanket handy or your pillow. And rolling back down onto your back. So if you're tired, you can flop down. If you want to do one final core challenge, pulling the belly into the spine, knees are bent, doing a Pilates roll down, bringing the arms out front. And just nice and slow, rolling back down onto your back. So go ahead, find your way down to your back. And once you get there, hugging the knees into the chest, rock side to side, closing the eyes. And again, noticing how the low back is feeling. Maybe making some circles here. Hands can be on the knees, or you can have the arms stretched out to the side. And just checking in, noticing how the body's feeling. Noticing places of tightness or tension or tiredness, fatigue. And also noticing places that feel okay, places that feel good. We're going to come into a knee down twist from here. So with the knees hugged into the chest, just dropping the knees over to the left. So feel free here to have your blanket or your pillow between the knees, or your block between the knees, under the knees, wherever it feels right. And then again, knee down twist, we can let that right arm stretch out. Maybe that left hand is gently resting on the outside of the right knee to deepen the twist. Maybe you don't need it. And then switching sides, coming across through the center. Just rock left to right, kind of neutralize the spine, and then when you're ready, dropping both knees over to the right. So again, you can have the block between or the pillow between the knees or under. Stretching that left arm out, turning the head and facing the left hand. It's okay for the neck. Gentle twist. Take a breath or two here. And then releasing, coming back to center. We'll come into a happy baby. So we'll bring those feet up into the air. And then your choice. You can use your two peace fingers and reach for the big toes for a yogi toe hold. You can reach for the outside of the feet. If you want to keep it a little gentler, you can just have the hands back behind the legs, drawing those legs down closer. Like you could tap the knees on the floor beside you. So maybe closing the eyes, check in with that tailbone again, noticing if the tailbone's rolling off the floor, bringing that back down nice and flat. And again, in happy baby, you can be still. You can rock side to side. And then if there's any final stretch, you can take a moment here if your body feels like you need anything else. Feel free to go ahead and do that, or making your way into relaxation. Whatever that looks like for you. Any low back issues, you can keep your feet flat on the floor, keep the knees bent, and let those knees touch so that you're making kind of a teepee here. The legs can relax. So this could be your shavasana. You could be stretched out nice and long for relaxation. Your arms can be stretched out to a T. The hands can rest on the belly. You could feel free also to do legs up the wall, or hook your feet up onto a chair or the couch if you're near one. So take a few moments as we close to just catch your breath. Resting here. And just kind of checking out from head to toe. Notice how the body feels now. Notice where it might feel different after stretching and lengthening, strengthening. And as you scan from head to toe, finding places to let go. Relaxing the jaw. Relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. And let all the muscles in the back release and soften as much as you can. Training ourselves here to let go, not just physically, to let go of mental tension, to let go of heavy emotions, to let go physically in the body. Allowing our yoga practice, our stretching and lengthening, opening and softening, be a profound spiritual practice that teaches us to let go, to loosen up physically and mentally, and to humbly soften to our experience, moment by moment. You can feel free to stay in relaxation if you prefer, or otherwise nice and slowly hugging the knees into the chest and rocking side to side and making your way nice and slow back up to sit. We'll keep the eyes closed. Bringing our awareness to the breath. Once we're sitting back up again, coming back to that purposeful breathing to relax the nervous system in and out through the nose. Breathing into the low belly first and then the chest. Nice big long exhales. Bringing your hands together, palms together in front of the heart. Bowing your head, thanking your body for all the hard work today, as well as for softening, relaxing, loosening. Thanking your body for being healthy today. We'll close our practice with a loving kindness meditation. May you be happy. May you be healthy in body and mind. May you live with ease. Namaste. All right, everyone's unmute. Everyone's unmute.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Way over.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Happy Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love you.
Thank you. See you next week.
Happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I see you, Mom.